Hello, it's Sonia here at The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be doing an ear warmer project or a headband, and this one is totally customizable. You can make this to fit any head size, you can use any yarn, you can use any hook size. For my ear warmer, I'm going to be using my J hook or 6mm hook, and I am doing two different colors here, and actually have a yarn label, which like never happens. My yarn labels always seem to disappear, but I have this Lion brand Just My Stripe. I have never used it before, even though it's like half gone. My mom gave me a leftover, and I think it's really pretty. It's like a bluish purple. It's probably showing up more blue on camera. And then I'm going to combine it with this white, and I'm not sure what kind of yarn this is. It's definitely number 4. It could possibly, almost feels like Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. I don't think it's Red Heart Super Saver. It just doesn't have that feel to it. So we are going to be using these two colors, and I've already made one so you can kind of see what it looks like. I've used this, I think this yarn is super ugly, but I think it looks nice with this. And this headband is crocheted completely. It's not sewn. Some of this style you sew at the end, and I figured out a way to not have to sew it. And I'm actually using a stitch of the week to make this fun texture. So you could make this all in one color. You can make it in stripes, a combination of stripes, rainbow, however you want. This is a great stash busting project. Alright, so why don't we get started, and I am going to be using this bluish purple to get started, and my camera needs to focus. There we go. That's a great thing. Alright. So what you're going to want to do is you will want to make a chain that's going to fit your head. So the green one that I made, I thought, I have a really small head, and I thought that was a slightly snug, so that's probably I'm gonna probably donate this one, you know, and someone could use it for a child. So with this one I chained and I did use a J hook, and this is Red Heart Super Saver, and this speckle stuff, I have no idea what the brand is. Again, I lost the label, but with this one I chained 67, and I think for mine I'm going to chain 73. So I'm going to make a chain of 73. So you want to make a chain that's going to fit around your head or whoever you're making it for. And it's going to be made in rows, and then you turn it into a headband once you've got it wide enough, or your headband or ear warmer. And you can also make it as wide as you would like, or as skinny as you would like. If you just want like more of a headband and not an ear warmer, you could definitely do that. And this one, you know, I obviously wanted to make it as an ear warmer, and I'm going to do the same amount of rows for this one I'm making as I did with this guy here. Alright, so I'm going to keep going, chaining my 73, and I will meet you back. Alright, so I have made my 73 chains, and I forgot to mention a very important thing. When you do make your chain, you want to chain an odd number. So that's why I chained 73. And then my other one here, I chained 67 for this smaller one. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to work our first row, and you're going to work in the back bump of your chain, and we're going to work in the second chain from our hook. And we're just going to work a single crochet in the second chain, and we're going to single crochet all the way across. So at the end of my first row here, I will have a total of 72 single crochet. So you want to have an even amount of single crochet. Now if you wanted to, you could work foundation single crochet, and you would just want to single crochet an even amount if you're working foundation. I was thinking of doing foundation single crochet, but I hesitated because it does look slightly different, and we will be using a stitch of the week, but we also will be incorporating regular single crochet as well. And I like my project to look as symmetrical or even as possible, so that's why we're working in the chain. But foundation single crochet, if that, if you really want to, you can certainly feel free to do that as well. Just do an even number. All right, I'm going to keep going, just working my single crochet in my back bump across my chain here. And so at the end of my row 1, I'll meet you back. All right, so I finished up my first row here and just single crochet working in the back bump. And the reason why we work in the back bump is because we want both ends to look the same. So here's the finished guy. So there's that end and that end, and that's why we're doing that. All right, sometimes it's okay to work in the chain however you want to, but I have a method to my madness here. All right, so let's get ready for row 2, and row 2 is going to be a stitch of the week, and it's called the cross single crochet. It's super easy, and I think it looks really, really nice, and it's really great for projects like this. I'm not a huge fan of the single crochet stitch, but I really do like this one. I think it's pretty and it works really well for this project. All right, so we're going to skip our first stitch right here. So normally you single crochet right in that same stitch. We're going to skip that guy and we're going to jump to the next one and we're going to single crochet in that one. And then we're going to single crochet in the one we skipped. So why I call it the cross single crochet, and you're going to repeat that all the way across. So you're going to skip the next stitch, single crochet in the next one, and then go back in the one you skipped and just work your single crochet. And you just keep doing that all the way across. So skipping the next one, working in the next one. So you will still have a total of however many you change. So I have 72 stitches, so or however many is your first row. So let's say you chained 65, then your first row you'd have 64 single crochet, your second row you would also have 64 single crochet. But I chained 73 and my first row is 72 and my second row is also going to be 72 single crochet. So you just want to make sure, and it can be easy to kind of mix up the stitch a little bit. Like you might accidentally, work in there, but that one's already been worked and you want to skip this guy and work in the next one. So it's definitely an easy stitch, but you have to pay a little bit of attention. So I'm going to keep going, just working across my chain here, and I will meet you back at the end of row 2. And I am going to change colors, and I'm not going to cut my yarn, so I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So I'll meet you back. All right, so I am finishing up row 2 here, and I'm going to change to another color. So I'm grabbing that. Dropped it. Okay, here we go. All right, so here is my second color, and again, you can use as many colors as you would like. So this is my last stitch, and I still need to finish it off. So I'm going to finish it off with my second color here. And I'm not going to cut this first color here. And now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and I'm ready to begin row 3. So you can make as many rows as you would like. I am going to be considering my odd, this is the odd side, row 3. I'm considering that the right side. It's basically reversible. I just kind of like the odd row, the odd side facing a little bit better than the even side. It's just a personal preference. I just think it has a little bit more texture. I mean, almost looks the same, might not matter to you. But I'm going to consider this my right side. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to repeat row 2, working the cross single crochet for however wide you would want your ear warmer. And then your very last row is going to be just a regular single crochet row, so that it mirrors this guy here, because our first row was regular single crochet. And then we're going to get ready to turn this into a headband. So when you get to your final row, don't cut your yarn. Now for my project, my first one I made here, I worked 14 rows, and I'm going to do 14 again. You don't have to do 14, you could do 10, like especially if you wanted more of a headband, you certainly would work less rows. It's just however wide you would want your ear warmer, work the amount of rows. And it doesn't matter if you know, you work, if you end on an even or an odd row, it's fine. Just make sure your last row is a regular single crochet. So I'm going to get started from my row 3, skipping this first stitch and working in the second one here. And then I'm going to go back and work in that first. Skipping the next one, working in the next, and then going back in the one that I skipped. So skipping this next stitch and going back into the next. And now we go work in the one we skipped. And we just keep going across here. So I'm working 2 rows each of my color. So I have, so look at this, purple blue would be color A, white would be color B. So I'm working 2 rows color A, 2 rows color B, 2 rows color A, 2 rows color B. You get the idea. So that's how I'm doing my color combination. For this guy here, let me think how I think I did 4 rows. So let's say the green is color A. So I did 4 rows color A. Then I did 2 rows of color B, 2 rows color A, 2 rows color B, and then 4 rows of color A. You know, so you can kind of just customize it and do it however you want. You could do 1 row each of a different color if you wanted to, or do it all in one color. It's completely up to you. This, as I said, totally customizable. You know, really, you can really personalize it and make it your own. So I'm going to just keep going here, and I will meet you back at the end of row 14, and that will just be a regular single crochet row. So again, you just want to work a regular single crochet row for your final row. Alright, so I'm going to get going and I'll meet you back. Alright, so I finished stitching up my 14 rows here, and my last row I worked just a regular single crochet row. So now we need to turn this into the actual headband. So first I'm going to cut my white here because I don't need it anymore. Alright, so this is color A. And so what you're going to want to do is determine which side you want to be the right side, what side you want to be the wrong side. So I think I like both sides, but I really like this side a little bit better. I mean, they're almost the same, but I like this side. So this would be the odd row side. So this is going to be my right side. Okay, so when I was editing this video for the last minute ear warmer, I noticed when I was finishing it, when you actually have to turn it into an ear warmer, I thought the 2 colors were a little bit distracting and made it a little difficult to see exactly what I was doing. So I decided to make another one in 1 color and show you how to attach the ends that way. I thought that might be a little bit more clear for you. So what you're going to want to do is you will want to decide which is going to be your wrong side and which is going to be your right side. Either way is fine. They're basically, especially in 1 color, I mean, it's pretty much reversible. So you're just going to want to determine which is your right or wrong side. And then before we start stitching, oh, wrong end there. So this is our single crochet row. So what you're going to want to do is just chain 1 to get yourself ready, because we're going to slip stitch across these ends to form the twist. So you just want to have your chain 1 ready to go. I'm just going to pull that out a little bit so it doesn't come undone. Okay, so I think this side is the right side. It looks fine. And as you can see, 1 color, it looks equally nice. You can still see the nice texture. So you're going to want to have the right side facing you, and then you're going to fold it just like that. And you're going to want to have your working yarn on the top here. So then you're going to fold your end. So we have the right side's touching, so now the wrong side is facing you, and you're going to fold your each end. So here's the first one on the left, and here's the second one. So now our ends are folded, and now we want to tuck them into each other. So what I mean by that is you're just going to slightly open it up, and you're going to slide the end from the right. So it's kind of like a mouth, and we're just going to slide that one end in, and they're all going to be folded together like that. And so you can see there's my working yarn here, and I'm going to turn it this way because we're going to be stitching across all 4 of these flaps there, or ends. So I'm just going to get my hook back in because I've already chained one, I've already got that going. So now I'm going to insert my hook right on the end there, and I'm just going to insert all the way across in each end because you've got 4. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and just picking up. And so this is the corner here, so you want to get right on that end there of the one corner, and then here is my last one, so 4. So I've got my hook in all 4 of those guys. So where's my working yarn? There she is. And then we're going to do, yeah, this tail keeps getting in the way. We're just going to yarn over and work a giant slip stitch through all of those. And you can just kind of do it carefully. No need to rush. And there we go. So we've secured. So now you're just going to keep going across. So just popping it in there. So making sure you want to go through all 4. And I like to try to pick up at least 2 loops in each end. I feel like it just gives it a little bit more security. There we go. So what I mean by that, so here is the end, and here are 2, see, I'm just spreading it apart with my fingers, 2 loops there. And then we're just going to slip stitch through all of those guys. Now, if you do not like this method with the slip stitching, you can certainly feel free to sew it. What you would do is you would make sure you cut a long enough tail when you finish it off, and then use your yarn needle, and you're still going to do the folding method, and then you're just going to sew around all of those guys. But I don't like sewing. I try to avoid it as much as I can. Sometimes you can't, but with this project, this will be my 3rd one that I'm making, and I stitched across the other 2, and it worked out really, really well. So it is a little bit fiddly, but to me it's worth it because you're avoiding the sewing. Alright, so I'm just going to keep going here. So there's my first, and here's my second one. Sometimes the second one, here's the second one, the corner can kind of slide in there, tuck in there, so you just want to make sure that you have gotten that. So here is the 3rd one, and now we're at the 4th one. And I'm just carefully working that slip stitch, not rushing. Oops. See what I mean? You don't want to rush because then a loop might pop out and then you have to start over. You don't want to do that. So I was able to save it. Alright, so I'm just going to keep going across. So here's my first end. And see, there's my second one. It's wanting to tuck down in there. So you want to just pull it up. Second one. Third one. And the 4th one. So for this ear warmer, I used this textured, I guess it's like it's in between like a worsted and a decate weight yarn. I used an eye hook and I worked 13 rows. And I also chained 73, just like the striped one. So there is. So this one might be a little bit smaller because I used a J hook, but I used almost the same stitch counts, except I didn't work 14 rows. I was just trying to work up a sample. So I'll probably donate this one because I think this one will be more suitable for a child than an adult, or unless, I mean, maybe it'll fit me. I have a very small head, but I think it might even be too small for me. Alright, so I'm just working off these loops almost to the end here. So I think I had a little, I think I lost a loop, so I'm going to start over, unfortunately. So let me pay attention to what I'm doing here. And I'm going to try to squeeze in one more. I mean, this technically might be fine, but I like to really make sure we're super secure. So I'm going to get right in that corner there. And right in this corner here. And then this will be my last pass here. Okay, so then once we've stitched across, then you can turn it right side out. And I don't always like to cut my yarn right away because I just want to make sure that it looks okay. Because you don't want to cut your yarn, turn it right side out, and then you're like, oh, I messed up, I missed, you know, a section or whatever. So I just like to just stretch out my loop a little bit, take a peek at it, and as you can see, it looks great. It looks really cute. So we didn't miss anything. So then you can cut your yarn. So what you'll want to do for finishing is you want to weave in these ends. And since we carried the yarn, we only have the 4 ends there, which is really nice. But you know, depending how many colors you used. And then after you weave in the ends, if you need to block it gently, you can, and then it's ready for wearing. So I think this turned out really, really cute. I'm super happy with it. And I hope you enjoyed this project, and I thank you so much for watching.